how has engineering, whether hardware or software, changed your early years?
Oh my gosh, that's like 30 years ago. And back then you could buy off-the-shelf chips and hook them together. Nowadays, almost all software is done on at very large scale FPGAs and whatnot. And it's programmed in the middle of chips, and you can't even see it. It's a clever, artistic design, or real sloppy. Everything's thrown in, but it's all there. So, boy, engineering is a whole different process. Back then, one person could sit in a room pretty much and solder together a useful product and sell it in that form. Now, one person can sit at home and design something, hook a bunch of chips together, but when they're all done, they've got to put it into an efficient, manufacturable scenario that's a lot different. That's hard. Software-wise, the languages change a little, but pretty much software is just a process of thinking logically and organizing things and running your program and getting it to work, and then discovering there's a few things you didn't think of and fixing those last ones. I don't think it's changed that much.
Has the trend of low-level programming, compared to from the old days, it was assembly and all that, compared to today's new-based object-based, very high-level programming, has that changed very fundamentally in terms of, let's say, as a programmer or developer?
I can't say that's true. I think there are different kinds of people. I was mostly a hardware person, so I dealt with low-level programming because A, it's close to the hardware, and B, the same methodologies that I used for hardware design efficiencies, I could apply to low-level software code. I mean, sure, I wrote a basic language, and I wrote some programs in higher-level languages, but that wasn't really my forte. I was not an application writer. I did it as a piece of hardware. Today, we have embedded processors and everything. And embedded processors, small 4-bit, 8-bit ones, no, you very much program them in their own assembly language. That's how it's done. So the world that I love and am good at, I can still do.
Okay. Yeah, especially in embedded systems, and a lot of that still exists in factory automation or industrial engineering systems.
Yes. Now, as far as real applications on modern-day computers like Macintoshes and PCs, yes, there are a few people out there that still have to be that much of a perfectionist and do at least a lot of their code in assembly language even, just to get it so perfect and so small and so fast. And it still happens, just not as much. It's just not as common. Yeah, you aren't forced to for a solution that often. I think it lets programmers be sloppy, but it larger code bases.
This is something kind of out of the usual. Which do you think has the greatest potential to change the world in the philosophy as an educator or as an engineer?
To change the world, I believe that engineering has the biggest, most obvious, and important impact. Basically, you can come up with ideas and products that will change how people will live forever even. You can influence the design of future products, and where the world's going to go can just be based on accidents of who comes out with what ideas as far as products. And once we have a certain kind of product in our life, like a computer, we get rid of the old ones, like the typewriters. And at a later point in time, it might be, a typewriter would solve all these problems and be perfect for me, but it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. You can't go backwards. So you really want to change life a lot, even when the other one is still efficient, affordable, and would work better, or could be improved with some other new modern technology. It doesn't come back.
Your philosophy seems to be about gracefully simplifying things to perform, which is kind of the opposite many fields and that are moving to. So what's your take on your stance?
Wow. The funny thing is, my stance on optimizing is based upon an engineering idea. You always design products to have high efficiency, transistor circuits to have high output to input. It's called getting the most out for the least in. To me, it was getting the most performance and functionality out of a computer with the least amount of parts. To get the most functionality and usefulness out of a program with the least lines of code, the least programming. It's funny enough, but that extends to my own philosophy in life. I just believe in trying to keep life very simple and, pretty much just carry cash and use cash a lot. And carry very few credit cards, but carry everything in my pocket and just have a few systems in life that it's not as complicated as it has to be.
sounds very zen.
Well, yes, and it is, and I'm very much like that in almost all my thinking. Trying to find out ways to do something very little, but really the result is as good as if I did something complicated, and acting like I know how to do this, do this, do this. I often try to think, do I have a lot of choices where I can do a little bit less, but I'll really get done the right thing?
With students more empowered with access to technology and information via the internet, what is the best way forward for teachers and educators?
I think, well, when you talk about computers, one of the problems is the teachers and educators in the United States, at least, are low on the scale of computer abilities, and then they don't bring out good computer abilities and usage and making homeworks and presentations look very spectacular from the students, which will get them better grades, get them praise, make the students feel I'm good at something, I'm going to work harder next time. It's positive feedback. That doesn't happen because it stops at the level of the teachers. The students don't want to go way above what the teacher expects. The teacher thinks, God, you're above my level, you are great, and it's still way down lower than they could be. So I think I wish we really had teachers that were strongly educated on ways to use computers in school.
Can we do something about this to change, how teachers are acting now versus where we feel they should be?
It's very difficult to change things because there are a lot of structures already in place as to what teachers have to learn, and to try to add some new course in, a computer will they'll get 5 hours of training and they'll call it computer literacy. Now, I taught 5th graders for 200 hours in a year, and there was a lot of learning, and it was really effective, but you don't get it, you just pass over computer literacy fairly tight.
What is your game plan for making the WOS GPS-based solutions more competitive for adoption of the RFID solution?
Well, we look at RFID as having a very narrow range and a very low cost. And we look at some other solutions that are cellular-based as having a wide range but a very high cost, including cell phone charges. And we want to be in the middle and basically be able to cover large territories like a few blocks in a city or even a few square miles of a city and monitor cars, traffic with small low-cost base stations. Basically, everything I do, I try to make it low cost. And so everything we did, we tried to make the cost the minimum.
So
RFID has a high cost with all the sensors, plus the short distance that they work under. So there are some applications have to be RFID is the right answer. But we're looking at things like when does a pet dog escape from my house? How's RFID going to help?
Okay.
When does my child somehow not take the correct path to school? Call me on my cell phone and tell me. And where's my car parked in a parking lot? Has my car been started in the middle of the night? Is somebody breaking into my car? These are all sorts of things that RFID has no solution for.
So it's more like the best choice for, let's say, in terms of the price and also the reach and the range.
It's an excellent choice in the consumer market, which is what we started pursuing, but we're switching to some commercial markets now because the consumer market's not taking off, but at the right price and functionality. And it's going to happen someday. It's going to be a huge market where everyone buys these things and tags a few important items in their own life.
Do you see that being adopted in, let's say, logistics and transportation industry? View that it's going to be, a big thing.
Of course I do. Yes, of course I do. And also some industries that are almost they are.
Okay. For entrepreneurs bent on financing mortgages and maxing out their own credit cards, what is your advice on sustainability without pain?
Sustainability without pain? Yikes. I'm not sure I understand the question. I came from the Apple designs I did were all zero cost. I kind of did them at home, and I believe that that was such a good thing that if you have a chance to completely build a working product and then start a company, that's the best approach you can have, because you know it works in advance. If you raise a whole bunch of money and start paying yourself a salary, you get lazy. You don't work as fast and you don't work as well, and it's better to delay that.
If you have to repeat your earlier life all over again, would you change anything at all? And if so, why? And if not, why?
I think about this a lot, and I would say no. I would say no. Everything that I did, I can think back to where my head was at the time, what my decision was based on, and I'm very careful to have reasons for the major steps in my life. Even when I sat down and made decisions about computers, that even a lot of people said, oh, you should have done it this other way. I know that my reasons were right by my way of thinking, and I've gone through every single one of them. I don't know of one that somehow, oh, I moved too fast, I didn't think quickly enough. No, I really trust myself. I have real positive feelings about